Every year, Los Altos School District hosts a Junior Olympics, where all the elementary schools come together to compete in sporting events, ranging from basketball free throw to softball throw to running races. With an older brother, I remember watching this event even before I could participate. Of all the fun and excitement I saw, there was one specific memory I will never forget. In the 13-20-yard running race, a girl, who was leading from the very beginning of the race, was out-sprinted in the final stretch, dropping her to second place. As she walked off the track, before she could even catch her breath, her mom was in her face, yelling at her for not running faster, for not trying harder, and for losing the race. Here she was, only 11 years old, being told she wasn't enough. Fast forward many years later, and I'm driving around with my dad. As we drive by a group of super excited parents cheering on their little 5-year-olds playing soccer, my dad turns to me and he asks, "So, what would you tell them? What advice would you give these parents as they navigate parenting their middle and high school kids?" And at first I laughed and I said, "Dad, you're the parent, you should tell them." But then I thought back to the little girl at the Junior Olympics. And I wondered if she would have had something to say. I realized that we, as the very kids living through this high-achieving pressure cooker of a society, might actually have a perspective on this. So maybe I do have something I'd want to tell them. So, dear parents, thank you for everything you do for us. We seriously wouldn't be here without you. But there's a few things we wish you would do more of or do differently. Number 1, empower our success. So many parents have a fixed, predetermined path for their kid. They know what success looks like and what they want and expect from their kid, even before their kid knows. This gives us such little space to express who we are and what we want to be and do with our life. So widen your perspective to give us the freedom to define our success and what we want to do. Number 2, empower our independence. I've heard so many stories of my teammates driving home from soccer games, crying in the backseat as their parents tell them everything they did wrong. I can't help but wonder, is this really helpful? It's not like we tried to do bad or don't already know that we did bad. The reality is, in these cases, the parents are trying to achieve something through their kid, to live their kid's life for them. Don't try to make my life yours. Just because you're a successful college engineer doesn't mean I want to be one. Just because you went to this school doesn't mean I want to go there. Just because you did this doesn't mean I want to. Give us the space to pursue the life that we want in the way that we want to. Number 3, empower our ownership. In school, I've noticed when teachers are passing back tests, if a kid got a lower grade than they were hoping or expected, more often than not, their first reaction is, "My parents are going to kill me." Because of the constant preoccupation you have over us, we have come to fear facing you more than the implications of our own bad test result. We aren't learning to hold accountability for our actions. We're doing things to please you rather than work through our own failures and successes to get where we want to get. So, parents, empower us. Give us the freedom to define our success, the independence to pursue it how we want, and the full ownership of both our failures and successes along the way. By all means, it's much easier to limit and restrict as a parent than it is to step back and give your kid this freedom and space. I've had the struggle of falling short of my parents' expectations with different definitions of success. Growing up, my parents never played any sports. They were the kids that tried to do anything they could to get out of PE class. If you know anything about me, I'm almost entirely the opposite. Yet, I was told as a kid that I wouldn't play on club sports teams or play on certain levels within those teams because those families were more committed to the sport than our family would ever be. It wasn't within our family values, they said. And I would never, ever play a sport in college. It wasn't even an option, a question, or a discussion. End of story. Yet, I loved to play soccer. While my parents were waiting for the day that I would stop kicking around a stupid ball, I was just trying to figure out how to do it more. As I got older, I realized that my perspective with my parents disagreed. I wanted something different than what they wanted for me. I had to courageously stand up for myself, sharing with them what I saw as success, what I wanted to do, and why it meant so much to me. This opened the dialogue, allowed us to have conversations, many difficult conversations, where we went back and forth on our different definitions of success. So, here I am, heading off to college to play soccer, doing anything and everything my parents told me I couldn't do, shouldn't do, or would never support. But, having eventually gained their support, I have one big takeaway. Our parents truly want to support us. Sometimes they just don't know how. So kids, it's now up to us. At this point in our lives, our parents have done most of their parenting. It's our turn to help them out. To be truthful to ourselves and truthful to them of what it is that we want and who we want to be. So I ask you, what do you want? What do you define as your success? Maybe it means something that isn't the traditional definition of success. Maybe it means doing something different. Maybe it's something that your parents don't want for you. But if it's what works for you and is what makes you happy, isn't that success? Sometimes it's the hardest thing to want something different than your parents. But this is your life, and at some point you're going to have to make it yours. If not next year like myself, then in a couple years to come, we'll be graduating high school with big choices to make of where we want to take our lives next. It's a time to have these difficult conversations, to be open and honest with your parents of who you are, what you want, and how they can best support you. It's time for you to take the driver's seat, to define your success, to create the life that you want to live. So, parents, love us for who we are, not who you want us to be. And to the kids, be truthful to yourself and to your parents of who you are and what you want to be. Thank you.